Hi, I'm Ron Langford, and I'm the president and founder of MasterDrive.
And I'm Mark Stolberg, and I'm the Vice President of Training for MasterDrive. Actually, we decided to go through the process after seeing Suzanne present at a small CEO corner type presentation. And really her energy and enthusiasm and her ability to present kind of captured us. And then as we got to know more about her expertise in the field, it became this obvious step that we needed to take for the company.
From my perspective, I think it hit me right between the eyes in regard to there are some things that we need to remind ourselves and our associates in regard to some things relative to our branding. And my conversation with Suzanne immediately after the meeting was for the purpose of getting a better idea of what the whole brand DNA program was about, how we may be able to adapt that into our company. We have a very strong brand, but I think we needed a reminder in regard to what is it that we stand for and to remind our people.
As we expanded, it became a challenge because we weren't able to get everybody directly exposed to the founder and to the heart and soul of the company. So as we developed the brand and as we created systems with which to move that throughout the organization, it became obvious that we needed a little help with that process, and that's really what this brand DNA process was for us. So our brand DNA process, for us, we chose the online and kind of interactive process for that, and uniquely I think it was hard for us to get the group of people that we really wanted at the table all to the same place at the same time because of our geographic spread of our operations. But bringing that group of people together that were working from so many different places in so many different perspectives, I think really added to the quality of the result.
So we selected a broad group of people through the company and then their input into this whole process. And one of the really interesting things that we determined was that we maybe didn't look at branding or brand really from a perspective of both internal and external. That is, internal meaning how we really believe about ourselves, and then also externally, that is to our clientele, to their families, in regard to what is this program about and being able to communicate more clearly in regard to that.
Since that time, the middle level managers have reported back that they really feel like they're in the know. They are included into our direction and our vision and our focus, and that they truly understand that, which is helping them to be able to do their job better and to be able to communicate better to the people that they're responsible to. One of the things that we put into place is to do a survey an internal survey to all of our people about how are we showing up? What's their perception of the brand? What's their perception of MasterDrive? So that we can really get that feedback and know, one, whether or not we're succeeding at what it is that we're trying to do and the message that we're trying to get across and the position we're trying to portray, but also to identify those areas that we need to bolster. And with which groups do we need to do that?
One of the things that Mark kind of mentioned also was we have a specific project, we're just implementing that now, with a person who is one of our prior coaches, in fact one of our coaches of the year. And he is going to be being with various coaches to make sure in regard to the quality of our delivery of training.
One of the outputs from the brand DNA process is a handbook, and the MasterDrive brand handbook. We were able to give this to everybody who participated in the brand kickoff event And it'll be part of our process of bringing somebody new into the company. And it just very clearly states some of the things that are important to us. Some of our style attributes, for example, being passionate, that all of our staff, all of our employees are knowledgeable about the programs that we do in the core of our business, and that they're passionate about that they're committed to the mission, that they're committed to an outcome, and that they'll do anything they can in order to help achieve that outcome. But being able to define that so that everybody's wrapped around that same driving force, if you will.
As a part of this process, one of the things that we identified are differentiators. That is, what makes us different from other people who are in our business. And the interesting thing is, we didn't have any difficulty with that, but we hadn't really thought about it that much. But a whole list of differentiators in regard to what we do, how we do it as far as a process, how the brain learns, etc. All of those things have to do with the differentiator between what we do and the typical program. So that was really important to us, but it was important not because we didn't kind of think about it, sort of, but because we didn't identify it and communicate with each other in regard to what is it that makes us different.
And I think that our recent work in the brand DNA process is going to help us to stay really cognizant of presenting who we are, why we are that way, and why it's important to make sure that everybody that we involve into the process and into the company is able to understand that very clearly, is able to embrace that, and is able to carry that forward. We'll be able to advance the mission of the company exponentially.
Another thing I think that we will be experiencing in the next several months is in regard to some of the ideas. I mean, some of these ideas that came up during the brand kickoff session were wild and crazy, but some of them really are very interesting. So for several reasons, I think that we are going to be doing things a little bit differently, not from our training standpoint, but from our communication standpoint.
You know, what I would say is is number one, to trust Suzanne. Somehow she kind of knows what she's talking about. And then to trust the process. Not every step of the process is going to feel like it makes sense, but every step of the process does have value in the outcome. Get a group of people around you that are diverse, sometimes players that you maybe wouldn't have considered, so that you have that broad perspective as you go through the process. Make sure that you engage fully and that you create a safe environment for other people to engage fully, so that you can really get down to the core. We discovered some things in the process that were a little bit surprising to some of us, including me, and creating that safety and that trust and that atmosphere of creativity was critical to discovering something new.
It really is a tough decision to make in regard to, do I spend this money to work with something called branding or brand DNA when I really know about branding? The things that Suzanne brought up made us realize we don't know much about brand or branding, and we sure don't know what DNA means. So one of the things that I would suggest for you is to get involved in the process and then make that determination based upon the value that you're receiving from it rather than how much it costs up front. That was, I think, a major concern of ours, and there's no doubt but what we received value. And by the way, we're a small company, so we had to make that decision very carefully.